Welcome to the Model Health Show. This is fitness and nutrition expert Shawn Stevenson here with my beautiful co-host and producer, Jade Harrell. What's up, Jade?
What's up, Shawn?
How you doing today?
I am fan-terrific.
Fan-terrific.
I got that from one of our listeners.
Tell me what that is.
It means fantastic and terrific, all wrapped up in one.
That just happened.
Goes the
It
dynamite.
just happened. Awesome. Well, we've got an amazing show lined up for you guys today. We've got a special guest, very, very special guest.
Yes.
Very, very special to me. We've got my wife, Ann Stevenson, on the show today. The crowd goes wild. And I've been getting a lot of requests, out there on the interwebs about doing a show and talking about some more strategies for family. In particular, like feeding a family, in a healthier fashion. And also the moms out there being able to take care of themselves, with all the stuff going on. And basically, today, it's kind of a situation where you have to be the omega woman and be able to do all these things simultaneously and look good while doing it, so it can be quite a bit. So I'm going to be able to share some of these strategies that she has and also just kind of our relationship and how we work together. So it's going to be some good stuff for you guys. But first, let's give a shout out to our show sponsor, onnit.com. Head over to onnit.com/model for 10% off all of your health and human performance supplements. You already know we're huge fans of the hemp force protein. The most bioavailable protein for the human body is going to be found in hemp, uniquely in hemp. Very interesting protein structures, edestin and also albumin, a very soft globular protein, easily digested by the human body versus chicken, beef, all these other things, which are wonderful. We've got very, very long lineage of consuming these foods, but the reality is today we do oftentimes need a protein supplement, especially if we're going to be working out, especially if we want to keep our energy up because we're protein machines. It's like the building block for so many different processes, your brain function, the function of your gastrointestinal tract, on and on and on. Protein is the deal. So definitely the best source that you're going to find is going to be found in hemp. So, and not any hemp though. Let me make this clear. If you go to the store right now and get, Shawn said hemp protein, and you get back and you throw a couple scoops of that and you're just having a drink, it's like, that tastes like ashtray ashes. I wonder what ashtray ashes taste like. That's got to be it.
That must be it.
The other hemp proteins on the market are not that delicious. Hemp Force is phenomenal. Tastes great, and also obviously it's good for you. Also huge fans of the Shroom Tech Sport, the Earth Grown Nutrients, the green superfood blend they have. They got so many amazing things. Head over there and check them out. onnit.com/model. Now let's get into the iTunes review of the week.
I'm excited about this one from hotbetterpop.com. This is a 5-star rating. I know. I want to go see what that's about. Shawn and Jade, thank you both so much for creating this incredible space for sharing such valuable content. I feel like every episode speaks directly to me. I have experienced a huge positive shift in my health and my quality of life over the last couple of years, and I can attribute a large part of that to you both and the information you share. Words can't begin to describe my gratitude, and I hope that you continue sharing and loving this process. Many, many thanks. P.S. Jade, you are my girl. You both have wonderful chemistry together, and it's an honor to have you both in my earbuds every week.
That is incredible.
She said years.
Thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of your life and to be in your earbuds. It means the world to me, and we promise we're going to keep on delivering the best of the best for you guys, and it's only going to get better. Super excited what's coming up. But first, today, we've got a phenomenal show.
Yeah,
and I've got a very, very special person I'd like to introduce to you guys. She's actually on much earlier in our podcast journey, and we did a show about natural childbirth, which was great. It's one of my favorite shows.
It is.
For sure. And we got so many great messages about that and how helpful it was. But I'd like to welcome back to the Model Health Show, my wife,
Mom.com.
Ann Stevenson. How you doing today?
Hi guys.
What's up, baby?
Pretty good.
It's okay. You don't got to act brand new.
It's just different being on this other side of the world.
Yeah.
Not
So
used to it.
for people out there, you might not know this, but Ann actually handles a lot of the behind the scenes stuff for the Model Health Show. She makes sure that it gets distributed to you guys every single week in the best form possible. She helped to really build the system, and she's super smart. She's insane. She's scary smart, actually. And it's just been a really great pleasure having her in my life and a privilege. And so,
but what's more is the behind the scenes for really real of the Model Health man. altogether, not just this program. You know, the guy that we're seeing today has a lot to attribute to this, sweetheart.
For sure, hands down, hands down.
Man.
So let's go ahead and actually share a little bit of your background, and because you wouldn't be a part of this in the way that you are if you weren't passionate about health and also about helping people. So tell us a little bit about your background. Where are you from? And also tell us how you got interested in health.
All right. So I came from Kenya. I came here when I was 12 years old, and just typical teenage life that I had, except for the big thing of the culture shock that till today, I still go through, little pieces, not as much as in the beginning. And I had a conversation with my cousin some while back, and, he was saying, this is so true. Till today, every single day, there's just small things that just bring that culture shock out, and you're just like amazed, like, whoa, that's so different. Why didn't I learn this, and that type of thing. But typical teenage life that I experienced, and obviously not really listening to my mom, and going from culture shock to really embracing the American lifestyle, especially the food. And I used to, I think when I could start driving, and I was driving everywhere, I think when I was 18 years old, I would have McDonald's probably like 5 days out the week. Like that's all I would eat. And
what about the pizza? Can you order yourself a pizza by yourself and just watch a movie or something?
Yes,
Pretty
a
regularly.
Pizza Hut. Like I would order my mom used to order that for me, which is surprising to people. But I think, it was just kind of, she was feeling bad for me. I didn't have friends. So it was just more on like, oh, poor girl, so just go ahead and feed me pizza. And she didn't know any better too as far as what was in it.
Yeah.
But fast forward when I think when I met you around that time was when I started to, obviously after consuming so much fast food.
So let's actually talk about when we met. Let's talk about that because that's kind of important and relevant. So where did we meet?
We met at our school, Seoul, the
Where
Art
at,
University.
Where at?
The gym.
We met at the gym.
The gym.
It can happen, and I got to jump in here because when I met her, so I was a strength and conditioning coach at the time. And this was about a year and a half after this kind of transformation happened with my own body and my health and recovering from this so-called incurable spinal condition. And so I'm feeling incredible, and I'm really trying to sort out what my mission is. And I have this perspective that, impossible things can happen, and I wasn't looking for mates in the gym. I wasn't looking around for somebody to hook up with. So I kind of I didn't really see her, but I saw her. I noticed this girl kept coming in. She was consistent because one of the things you notice if you work at a gym is people who are consistently coming. And she was over there, and she was really doing her thing, like on the treadmill. And she's got these long legs. I'm like, wow, she's really rolling. She's serious. And she had that look in her eyes that I've come to know very closely. This like eye of the tiger, right? Not tiger. Well, sort of tiger. The eye of the tiger. And she was just like really going for it. And so eventually, how do we end up talking?
Oh man, it's like one of those, like it's almost like a fairy tale in a weird way. I was at the gym one day. No, first of all, I saw him the first time I went to the gym, and he was training somebody, and I looked over and I told my friend, wow, like, look at him. Like, I'm so going to get him, but it was in a joking way. I'm using the P. And so anyways, I told my friend, yeah, I'm so going to get him.
Get him then for working out or for something else?
Just that, but just being confident in that moment. But I let it go, and I just made sure I was pretty every time I went to the gym.
That's right.
This is new stuff to me, guys. I'm loving this.
So anyways, like one day I remember clearly, it was a Saturday. I was there training, and my headphones fell on the floor, and he came and picked them up. And so he gave them, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, just trying to, be a player type of thing. But he was just generally being nice. And he was like, here you go, and asked me what my name was. And the next question, which I think really kind of set course on how, just really being in awe for him, was he asked me, where am I from? Which a lot of people back then really could not tell, especially pretty much everybody in school. I could just, in my hand, how many people knew I was from somewhere else, or who can tell us from somewhere else. Yeah. And so I was like, wow, he pays attention to detail. He must be around foreign people. He just really listens closely. So that's how we met, was from there on, just talking here and there. And then he made me, I think we kind of debate on our first official date, which he made me spaghetti, which was horrible. It was just horrible. I think it was whole wheat pasta.
Yeah, this was my whole wheat
salt.
Days.
It was horrible.
Yeah, it wasn't the best. Well, I'm way better now. Let's be real.
Right.
But I was trying, in my mind again, it's just I was doing the things that I thought was the right thing, and it was definitely, quote, better than a lot of other people, but at the same time, still didn't have a lot of stuff figured out until I met her and her amazing mom.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing our
Wait,
story.
I have to know, though. I have to know how we got from treadmill to dinner.
Oh, I got to tell you this. All right, so.
Because that could have been an ongoing.
First of all, I had to be very, kind of withdrawn even when I picked up her headphones, because she was on the very awkward leg abductor machine, the one where your legs open up and it's just it's already probably uncomfortable. It's but then I noticed that there was a subtle accent, and so that's why I asked where she was from. But
it had nothing to do with the abductor machine.
No.
Okay. No.
I was just being nice,
Oh, my
so
gosh.
Shortly thereafter, so we started talking. We started, talking on the phone, and but shortly.
You asked for the number.
I think so. And so we started talking. I think we went on a date, maybe, or of course, the little gross food thing. So shortly thereafter, we started dating, and I was like, wow, I got this girl who's she's super interested in health like I am. And all of a sudden, she stopped coming to the gym. I'm just like, what happened? Come to find out that all that Eye of the Tiger, all that consistency was for the purpose of going to Miami with her friends. For
Memorial Day
spring
weekend.
break or something, I don't know. Yeah. And after that, she threw the deuces on the gym, and for a couple of years, she would come every now and then, but, I kind of got tricked, but in a good way.
He always says that.
Hey, it is what it is.
He just met me in that phase. And it was so funny just looking at some of the questions you wrote, how did I get into nutrition and exercise? And nutrition, I have that story, but exercise, I've never really been one to I've always been small, so really why go? And
that's that Jim Gaffigan joke, right? When he's like, when I see people who are fit at the gym, I'm like, what are you doing here? You're done. Let's go ahead.
I love that.
Yeah, so I think that only when I'm motivated, I'm going to a wedding, my wedding, or going to a vacation or something, just like everybody else. It's just okay, that's when I'll go to the gym and I'll go hard. Mm-hmm. But you did pick up a quality of mine, which is when I go hard, I go.
Yes, you do. So. Yeah, for sure. So we spent a lot of time together, and this was the end of I hung up my player jersey. When I met her, it was just a perfect timing. Yeah. I knew that a part of my healing process was to also have more integrity in my relationships, because it was totally oblivious to me before that, people, even especially other women that I would talk to, that not that they didn't have feelings, but it just didn't really, I didn't have empathy or compassion, it just wasn't there. And I deserved a lot of the negative kickback that I received from that. And she came along at the right time. And I told her this before, it's I felt like I was making up for all the wrong stuff I did before I even met her, with her, so we worked through a lot of stuff. But first, of course, when you first get together, it's the birds are chirping, sun is shining brighter, everything's beautiful. And we just kind of were in that kind of love haze for maybe a year or so. But then we started to really build, because love in a real relationship takes work, and it takes both people actively wanting to be a part of it, you know. And so I'm so happy today where we're at. And so after we had that experience of kind of getting together, not that long afterwards, you had a health incident. Tell us about that.
Right. Obviously, with the years of consuming really, really bad food, you know, taking a toll on me, I ended up actually having 2 incidents. The first one was I used to have really bad sinus headaches, and I couldn't get out of bed a lot. So I, you know, at that time, I didn't even have health insurance. I was like the last year about to graduate college. And so my mom, you know, like was like, you know, what's wrong? And I just back then already she had started really changing everything like around the kitchen. She had all these gadgets and, you know, they're staying up late reading these books and grass is in the kitchen. So
Wheatgrass tray.
So at that point, like, I'm like, okay, let me just kind of hear what she has to say. And she was like, you know, why don't you do this and this? And it was just basically a few juices, like just really just being on fruits and vegetables. And she put me through like a natural type of a cleanse, a very small one. And literally in a day, I was starting to feel better. Like I was bedridden where I couldn't, every time I'd get up out of bed, you know, it was just excruciating pain. So that's when it was starting to sink in, like, wow, you know, she really might know something because, you know, until that point, I remember the first time that Shawn met my mom before we went in the house. I told him, listen, they're weird in there. Like, you know, they're going to try and tell you all this stuff about food. Just say, you know, just close just your ears, just pretend you're listening and, you know, keep on going. Because, I mean, just that small ignorance of just not knowing what I really had in my own household. But so that kind of, you know, started to trigger a little bit on a relationship of my health and my food, but not too much to the point where, you know, it's making an actual difference. And a few months later, that's when I had the health scare where I went in for a regular checkup and they found that I had the cancerous cells in my uterus. And so I was devastated. And you know, at that time, Shawn was really picking up on his health journey and wasn't quite where he is today, the man. And so he was just like, you need to tell your mom. And I don't know. I was so scared to tell her. And I'm crying and I'll go to her and I'm telling her like, Mom, and they said I have this. And she just looked at me like, but why are you crying? You know? And I'm like, because, you know, I just wanted to say I'm going to die, you know? And she's like, that's it. Well, you know, well, all you need to do is to do this, this, and that, which is, you know, you need to stop eating all this food. You need to I need to put you in a cleanse and da. And so I look back like, wow, like my mom easily could have just like given it to me at that point. She didn't feed into it. She just went straight, okay, this is what you need to do. Yeah. And literally the following day, and that's one of the, I think a really good quality about me is the fact that I try and avoid pain as much as possible. Yeah. If I have suffered enough, like that is what drives me to kick into the next level. So I mean, all she had to say was that, and also it wasn't like just listening to what she said. I would go and Google some of the stuff she was saying, and it was like, oh, she's so right. What about this? Oh, wheatgrass. Oh, I need a juice. And all these things that made so much sense. And I just started to implement them. So I went on a 21-day fast.
And when you went back to get the exam done again, what happened?
The doctor, they said they couldn't find anything. Like, whatever you're doing, keep on doing it. Yes. You know, and that was the moment where everything changed for me. I not only understood the relationship of what I put in my body temple, but also that unwavering faith that my body has a power of healing itself. And it's just all I have to do is assist it in doing so.
Yeah.
So I think through that and over the years of like helping, all kinds of people that, from all the classes we used to teach, that's been my main message, is that if you can just facilitate that ground for them to just give your body that chance to really heal itself, put all the good stuff in, that's when magic starts to happen.
Really
Wow.
does. It really
This
does.
is that moment when she had this kind of revelation happen, and that's the reason that this show exists. That moment, because it changed me. Because even though I went through this healing experience of something that's so-called incurable, but cancer, like that was so much more volatile, it's such a scary thing. And to see this happen right in front of me, and so when she told me about it, I'm just like, you need to talk to your mom, like I know she's into that weird whatever, but at this point I was actually listening to her mother quite a bit, and I was seeing people coming to her mother, doctors sitting on her couch for help, it's just like, wow, this is really interesting. She definitely has some knowledge that other people don't have.
Sure.
And so when she had this process happen, it changed me because I got to see firsthand that there's nothing that's incurable outside of the healing power of what created all of this. It was silly of me to think otherwise, but it really took for her, number one, to get out of her own way, just like if you get a cut on your arm right now and you start putting like tobacco and like Skittles, like Skittle juice in there and beer, and you start, it's not going to heal properly, but if you just let your body do its thing, it knows what to do. It's going to heal up, possibly not even leave a scar because of all this intelligence. But we kind of get that for the outer experience of our body, but what's going on inside, it's oftentimes even more powerful because it's what's creating what's on the outside. And that was a catalyst for a huge shift in my career. I was this strength and conditioning coach, and I was helping people on a deeper level, but that was not where I was most needed. Shortly thereafter, like within a week, I had a client of mine who contacted me, I used to work with, and she was like, I got in the best shape of her life and all this stuff. And she contacted me. She was like, Shawn, I want to work with you again. But in 2 months, I'm going to have a hysterectomy because of these fibroid tumors. And I'm just like, wow. So you want me to work with you for 2 months and then everything, you're going to be out of commission for 2 months. I was like, you know what? How about we try to do something about this before you go in for that surgery? And she did the same process that my wife did. And I couldn't have anyone do the same thing in good consciousness that I hadn't done. So I did the same thing. So it was 21-day fast. And this
I did it with you too.
Yeah, you did it again.
I did it again.
Right.
Yeah.
And so this was one of the most powerful experiences of my life. I was healing things I didn't even know was wrong with me, but more so I really got to get clear on that voice that's in all of our head. I got to actually get very clear in the discernment between that voice in my head and who I am. And I just really got a greater relationship with my body and my mind. And also this woman who I worked with, Kathy, after 18 days, her fibroid tumors went from the size of maybe some large oranges to the size of raisins.
Yeah.
And I saw that firsthand. And again, when you see something like that happen, nobody can tell you otherwise that, incredible healings aren't possible. But again, you've got to stack the conditions in your favor.
You do.
It wasn't just the fasting. We added in all these different clinically proven herbs to help with estrogen dominance and things like that, and actually understanding what's the root cause of the condition. And we just basically stacked so many conditions in her favor to make it impossible for her to fail.
Sure.
And that was really the birthing of my true career, which was helping people with chronic illnesses and really helping people to reverse engineer diseases. And it was really because of the experience that my wife went through.
And what I gather a lot from, as you share this, Ann, is along the line of our body knows what to do. You said you were ignorant of what you had right there in your own house. And I see that as an analogy of our own house, our body's in-house. And so not just what it will do physically, like with a scar, but with your consciousness. So your consciousness and your awareness began to open up. And then, therefore, it did the same thing for Shawn. And as you went back in even.
Yeah.
And more enlightenment and healing has happened to where the scars of our past, the things we used to eat and do, and our thinking comes into a place of healing. I'm very inspired.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, if you go 21 days without eating so many things take place. And one component I do want to include too, because, again, he said it's about stacking all these things into your favor. But one of them was continuously feeding my mind, because there were times, dealing with so many of his clients, personally, like coaching them over the phone, was that doubt you have in your mind that, am I doing, it can't be this simple. You go and see all these, the doctors show you all these things, and you're scared and you're like, no, it can't be. And so you need more than just juicing and all that good stuff. But what are you watching? What are you thinking? What are you feeding your mind to make it stronger? Affirmations of all these other people. There were so many DVDs that, we would give people. Healing for Cancer is one of them. Just all these information out there and feeding it at this time, because your mind is clear. You're more receptive. Your voice inside is much more clear. You can hear better. The inner ears, you can hear better. So that was the biggest catalyst, I would say.
And that's something that's come into the conversation since you've been here. And we speak a lot about the effect of our mind, our inner game. But this is a key thing for women, Shawn, and I'm glad that this is the topic of conversation. We needed that because doubt and emotion and the various levels in which we operate do affect and impact how we're going to show up, how we're going to walk a thing out, write a thing out. So I know that that's huge. And for you to add that today is very good. We definitely needed that.
So this was, a really good glimpse into the background and where she's coming from, this really interesting experience. But by no means does this mean to break out a juicer and start fasting for 21 days
with no
prior knowledge. Definitely you should work with somebody if you're interested in doing something like that. And just, again, going to Dr. Google, doing some research on your own. But more so today is really about strategies for the family at large. And this is where I want to point the conversation to, because I'm sure you got some things to share. So you're a mom, very hot mom, and you help to run multiple businesses. And also, you're the husband. I'm sorry. And also you're the wife of a very interesting and popular health expert. So how do you pull it all off? So can you kind of take us through your day and share what your day looks like?
Yeah.
I guess as far as pulling it off, it was so funny because I was just like, I don't know why I should be here, but I do get it when he explained a little bit more. Because I think when you do a lot of things and it just becomes second nature, you don't think about it as much. But one thing I would say how I would do it all is the fact that I take care of myself. And that's obviously thanks to you for so many years when I would be distraught. And again, you just kind of get put into these situations. I was just running the different businesses. It just kind of evolved and happened, and then having a baby just evolved and happened. And again, I work good under pressure, but then when you get to E, that's when it's like, what's going on? You start playing the blame game to him and everybody else. And that's when he would come often telling me, like, did you take care of yourself today? Did you take care of yourself today? And I used to be like, what does that mean? What does that mean? And I finally got it. And taking care of myself. And this happened, I would say, now over a year ago, where slowly getting the lessons, where it wasn't just about working out. It wasn't just about eating the good food. It was just putting everything together, but with a focus and a purpose. So my typical day begins at 5:30, and this is when we wake up. And number one, again, for like now almost 2 years, I make the bed every day, which was not my thing. And I actually listened to a podcast, Shaylene Johnson. Mm-hmm. She was on your show, and she was just talking about that. Like when you make the bed, it's just a sense of completion that you have when you do it. And I didn't even know that until I was like, that's why, because I would feel good already after I make the bed.
And you can't crawl back up in it.
Right. So I wake up and I, drink my hot water with lemon because I just can't do just regular temperature water. And use the bathroom. And so between 5:30 to 6 is just kind of a time for me to veg out in a way, like do whatever I kind of want to do. I don't, because I know I'm going to be on all day. So it's just reflecting. I mean, anything that I really want to do, read a book, a couple of pages. And so I use the bathroom. And then after that is when I do the meditation that, Shawn described, a day in the life. Do that every single day. Just 5 to 10 minutes of meditating with the chaotic breathing or that fire breath, which brings me more focused. And then I go from there to really designing my day. And when I get out of that, if I have some time, I usually, probably don't know about this, but I dance. Like I put in my favorite song.
No, I didn't know this.
I put in my favorite song and like I just go hard like as if I'm in like at a rock concert. Like I always imagine like I want to go to Imagine Dragon rock concert, like, and I just really go hard. And all these things just from some of the guests you've had, some of the experiences we had. It's been a process of really designing my morning because I know how important it is. I've experienced the lows. I've experienced really being on E, and it just doesn't feel good. Again, I work best after being in pain for so long, so that's how I developed that. And then from there, I get ready I start making the food, everybody's food. So Shawn's breakfast and the kids' lunch. And then also I prepare dinner too. So most of the time it's just putting something in the crock pot. And I kind of do all those in between of helping my son getting dressed. And sometimes he helps. And it depending on the day,
me?
You.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you.
Yes.
And sometimes it depends on if after I meditate, if it's the day that I'm going to go work out. And again, I've just learned with kids, I think everybody with kids understands the being more flexible a little bit. Sometimes you might have to wait, a little bit later. And just working accordingly. But my ideal day is when I do get to work out after I meditate. And Shawn helps tremendously with, getting, Brayden ready in the morning. And then I just come in and fix breakfast and they're out the door. And dinner is in the crock pot and I get to work. And then from there, I pick up my son at 3:00. And then from 3 to 5 is just like hanging out with him. If there's a phone call or something that needs to be done, like I'll make the phone call. And in the evening, then after that, I prepare the food. And we typically eat at 7.
Yeah.
7:30. And then after that, it's just family time, just hanging out. And in between, most times, but in between, I might post the podcast or something.
Right.
Or I might, I'm working on a design, but it's very brief. And again, it's all processes and working through them and refining my strategy because it's all a strategy that I found. And that's pretty much my typical day.
Yes. And
I love that.
I got to say, for all the guys listening, she is so much nicer when she gets to work out. It's just like magic. And so for me to really help to set up the condition for her to work out consistently has been really important and powerful. But also, you've probably heard this, she had to turn it on mentally within herself to do it, to want to do it. And now, like she said, she goes hard and she loves going to the gym and working out, especially working out with me has really been something special. But it's really important for us in a relationship context to help each other and because there is definitely a way. There's always a way. And there was a time, I'm sure, when she felt pretty frustrated having Brayden, so many hours of the day. Well, I was doing a lot more. And so was she actually, so when we're talking about, she might post a podcast or do something small. We used to work like crazy hours because we could, especially before having a small kid, like it would be 14-hour days, 16-hour days, sometimes, because we constantly have access, and we were building this brand and this platform to be able to serve, and we definitely did put in those hours doing it. But when you step back and you look at what's most important,
right,
and also understanding if she doesn't feel good, she's not going to show up in her best for any of us, but she will still show up. But at the end of the day, what's going to be left for her? And so that's why we work together. And most of the time in the mornings, I just kind of preoccupy Braden. He's so fascinated with me right now. We were just talking about this last night. He's all about me, but now, when he was little,
right,
he would be pulling away. He wanted to be with his mother and his brother.
Now the time.
His brother's been gone for a few days, and he just got out of the car with me. He ran up to me and grabbed my leg and hugged me, and he was like, and his brother was like, "Hey, Braden." He's like, "Hi." I kind of like it,
right.
But today, for example, I was going to go for a quick walk, jog, and I just really felt like doing it this morning. It's really nice outside, but Braden, he's already up. So he's like, "Can I go?" I was like, "Braden, I'm going to run a little bit, buddy." He's like, "Can I run?" And it's like, yeah, let's go. And so I took him down. There's like this big parking lot because it's like a senior citizen retirement home or something like that down the street from us. So I knew that I couldn't run around the neighborhood with him, obviously with his little legs. So we went down to this parking lot, and I did like 60, 70 meter sprints and sprinted back, and then he would go and do like a 30 meter. And we kind of just like did this tag team, handing off the baton. And, this was a show we did recently talking about family fitness.
That's right.
And understand these kids, they'll throw some curveballs at you, but you want to encourage them. And also she mentioned the Day in the Life episode and talking about what my day looks like. So we'll put that in the show notes for you guys as well.
And even on that episode, I had asked, well, what happened? Where does the food come from, and who takes care of the children? Your day sounds great.
Yeah.
Do you remember I was saying,
Yeah.
so what about Ann? Because and what your response was that it's a team effort and that it all works in concert together. And I can see how those work in synchronicity, so to speak, like that. And ours is parallel. We've got that morning where we've got to get everybody else together. And then there's this window between, I guess, 9, 10 to 3 that you've got to go as fast and as hard as you can to get as much as you can done. But it was that I learned in this work with our wonderful program, and then some of the things that we've talked about along the way, that they do need to, we can't keep trying to do them all at the same time. There needs to be division and focus on each particular task. So I know we're talking about nutrition. We talked about life nutrition. What was it? Nutrition living?
Nutritious movement.
Nutritious movement. Can you share a little bit about how you're able to switch those modes and make each aspect of what you do so fruitful?
I think first of all, too, I want to say that the purpose, in the beginning of my day, is having that purpose and that focus. Because I spent I want to say a month really trying to figure out my morning routine, because of course it's changing, but there are musts that have to be in that morning, which one is obviously I need to drink water, meditate, or if not, really get myself in a really high state of energy. And also on top of that is my why. Why am I doing all this? And it took a long time to get to that place. But when I actually discovered my why, which is with him, being the navigator for him, he is the driver, but I do navigate. When I actually got that piece, it fueled everything else. So as far as being able to switch, it became easy, because it's just I understand my why and what I have to do for that day. So it's from preparing my to-do list, what I had, and I sometimes did it the day before or something like that, and then from there I just I attack it. With it's just the focus, because I have that preparation in the morning. I know what I need to do for that day, so just having that focus, I'm able to go for each one and and turn it around.
Now, just to talk a little bit about, again, the nutrition protocol and how do we get our food One of the things that was mentioned, if you get out and get to the gym in the morning at a certain time, then that's when I'm going to step to the plate and, make sure that Braden and my other son, Jordan, who was also on the show recently on the Family Fitness episode, making his little teenage, very short word appearance. I'll make them a green smoothie, or I'll make Braden, he's really into eggs and sausage and avocado, so I'll make his breakfast. But then you come in and you make sure that we're all taken care of for the rest of the day. So can you go ahead and share, with work, with, taking care of yourself, with family, what are some of your strategies for feeding everybody in the best way possible?
There are a few things, I guess. One being smoothies. Braden's been having smoothies for a long time. I think because, one, it's easy being able to pack everything in the smoothie for the day. So that's a given one. Always having that Whole Foods rotisserie chicken at home. One or two of them always helps for, if it's for making salads. Just for anything, we put hot sauce, barbecue, just making all kinds of little small stuff with that. And then also Braden loves the bars, just Z bars or just something small and easy, because he doesn't have any of that candy and all that crazy stuff, which I'm not he just doesn't know about it.
Right, he doesn't even know what it is.
He doesn't even know about it. And then on hectic days where just things didn't go the right way, there's always that Chipotle night that comes into effect. It's always nice to get some Chipotle in. And
so what are some of the meals that you like to make for us that are, kind of staples that we have?
Oh, man. Barbecue chicken in the crock pot. I love the crock pot.
Yes.
I think crock pot is mom's best friend. Mm-hmm. So I try and make a lot of things in crock pot. Actually, our oven has been on and off for a lot of months now. So it just kind of happened.
Right.
It just so happens that way. Curry chicken is a really good one that we make in there.
The curry. Don't worry if you have the curry.
And then we got the roast just putting a chuck roast or something, some kind of roast in the crock pot with mushrooms on there. And actually, you can, even after shredding it, I've made these waffle sliders, which are amazing, just all good stuff with the waffle sliders. And we've also made sweet potato casserole in there, just layering it up with a good one. Yeah, with that good stuff. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the meals that are made are in the crock pot and just being just more efficient. But I always, with the kids and the family, I tend to, at least 2 times a week, we have salad. So I've already created a schedule, a meal plan that's in my head. It used to be on a piece of paper, but that wasn't working. And I realized, 2 days we just gonna eat the same thing. Okay, I just make a lot of it where it's time for the following night as well as for them to take for lunch. And then, just so it's just a lot of food that's left over.
So one of the other things we've been having recently is chili. This Fiesta Mole chili, which we gave, and there's a little bit of chocolate in this chili, and it is so good. It's crazy. And that's another thing that you can make a lot of, and we had that for probably 3 days.
Yeah.
And you could do different things with it, throw it on top of a sweet potato with a side of green veggies. You could take it, and if you want to do a lower carb version, just put some avocado slices on there, or maybe some olives. It was so good and so versatile. And by the way, that recipe is in our mini recipe book, and you can get your hands on that at themodelhealthshow.com/superfoods. And this is from the episode where we talked about all these wonderful superfoods, the benefits, but also how do you get them into your body in a way that actually you can enjoy and it tastes good. So the Fiesta Mole chili is one of the things we have. Like she said, the roast in the crock pot, it's going today. It's going down. It's so good. And just really utilizing that crock pot and also making enough for multiple meals, So we've got a family of 4/5, depending if my daughter's around, which she jumps in there every now and then, and she has an appetite when she comes as well. But just making enough and also having those backup plans. So Chipotle has been a little bit of a help because it's close to our house, but also having the rotisseries, like you mentioned.
And
on deck.
also even having the honey mustard, we use that a lot for just our dressings, our salad dressings. And then also another thing too is I think with moms, obviously we can't do everything. And so really reaching out, it's really, I know it's hard. For me, it's hard to do that, but whoever can help, if it's like, your mom or whoever, just somebody to help with the food. So my mom has been making greens and cabbage for us. So that because I always have to have some kind of vegetable.
Yeah, that's been wonderful.
And so that also helps. Or being able to just make a whole lot of greens or cabbage or something, like a huge vegetable so that, they can have consistently in the week. And again, I can get extravagant and make, all kinds of great stuff. But that's just, once in a while because during the week, it's a lot of pieces, a lot of things moving. So things need to just be, simple and easy, and it has to taste good. That's the number one thing in my house. As long as it tastes good, if it's something new, Braden will eat it. Jordan will eat it because it tastes good. Doesn't matter if whatever type of nutrient, all that good stuff, because they know that it's supposed to be good, but I just want it to taste good so that, they can have a good benefit for it. And
so basically, she usually goes shopping usually once a week. And then her mom, as she mentioned, will make a big batch of greens, like sauteed greens and cabbage for us to just have on hand. So having a little bit of community and help from other people in your family or friends, we really should communicate with each other and lean on each other and help each other as much as we can. And it's been really it's been an interesting process for sure. And since we've got into this system, it's been working pretty well. And by the way, so when we mention Chipotle, I know it's not the best. There might be some Chipotle haters out there. What was that one meme?
Who's a Chipotle hater?
If you don't like Chipotle, then I'm nacho type. But it said nachos. I'm nacho type. Anyways, but so what we do, even when we get the Chipotle, I'll upgrade the meal. I add some spirulina into the guacamole or mix it into my kids' bowls. They love it, And also we have this the cashew sour cream, which is in the recipe book, themodelhealthshow.com/superfoods, and just upgrading our meals. So that's what we do.
Okay, and even too, we even if it is something that let's say they had Chipotle, because again, that's probably the only thing that we would even eat out, except for if we're going to awesome restaurant or something, which is once in a while. But if that happens, then I know in a day or two, I want more greens and something more nutrient dense for the kids to have. Yeah. So I make sure that happens. If it's in a smoothie or in a salad, or I add extra stuff in the smoothie, with the shroom tech or the Rishis in there. Right. I just make it power pack.
Now, this is a good place to talk about one little mindset thing before I let you go, but I'm never really going to let you go.
No.
So a lot of women out there, they have this underlying belief that they need to be perfect, and they've got all this stuff going on. They need to appear like they've got it all handled and really are being a perfect woman. So what can you say to those women?
I would say, I guess, first of all, it's looking at why, why that image is even in our heads. Where does it come from? Because and who is that model, and looking at to see if they're really happy, because a lot of times even by doing that or having this idea, it's more on a premise of just happiness. If I have all these things, I'm taking the kids here, I'm doing this, and I just look, I have all, then it appears that I'm happy. So I think that we're women, I think we sometimes are just going more on the feeling. So I think that's the first question, is just asking, what do I really want to feel? How does that really look like to me? Because it necessarily, for me, and this is just speaking from experience, because I have been there, where I just felt like I had to be all those things. and feeling overwhelmed and anxious and having to look that, I'm kept up. But when I looked deeper, is the fact that is really a myth. And it's so funny because currently I'm reading this book, Essentialism, which really, it actually talks about that on the having it all syndrome, which, it's just a myth. I think he talks about priority not being, we came up with this word priorities in the 1900s, but initially in the 1400s, it was singular priority. So you can only have one priority. So the way I set up my day is based on a year ago when I sat down and I was really not satisfied with how that anxiety and just feeling I'm going, not really being present. Because to me, then that is success. To me, that is having it all. When I am able to be present with my family and I'm just able to sit still, that is having it all. Mm-hmm. So how can I get there? And looking at it, it was like, okay, I have 5 or 6 areas that I want to be the best at, and for me, it was family, my body, finances, my business, and things that I can just take out every week. If I can just do one small thing just to get better at it.
Yeah.
Just keep on getting better at it, because at the end of the day, there is that fine line between trying to improve yourself and just striving to be better, and that line of, I'm not satisfied and I want more. So everybody has to define what that is for them, where that line stands, and just each day doing better in those 5 things. So when you are laying in bed at the end of the day, it's like, okay, I didn't work out yesterday, but I know I worked out the day before. So, and you feel good about that.
Yeah. Love it. Well, Ann Stevenson, it's been honestly really difficult having you on because I've wanted to put my hands on you.
Oh my God.
And to kiss you.
She said, oh my God.
But I didn't. And just getting a chance to hear what you have to say and even learning some stuff I didn't even know. See, these women have secrets, man. They have secrets.
Layers like an onion.
I love it. And I want to thank you for all that you do and that you are in my life. You've made my life beyond imagination. It's so good. And I want to ask you one final question, though. So what is the model that you're here to set with the way that you're living your life?
I think the motto I want to set is just a path of honesty and just self-honesty, to be really true to myself, and that expression being seen with others, and so that they can live their own truth. And most importantly, and I feel that we are working towards that with all that we're doing, is allowing people to start to trust themselves more, their inner voice and their bodies, and really listening, and that being the first step in healing.
Love it. Love it. So much good stuff here today. And everybody, thank you so much for joining us, my family, and being a part of this with me. You're a part of my family, and I welcome you and I thank you for being that. And I hope that you got a lot of value out of this, especially pulling away this really powerful understanding that your body knows. There's this inner intelligence, there's this innate intelligence within you that can help to guide you in your decisions, because at the end of the day, it's not about being perfect. None of us are perfect. It's about finding what's perfect for you right now. And that can also change, giving yourself permission to want different things, giving yourself permission to feel good, to let go of all the stress and anxiety and just be and just enjoy this life, because there's so much out there for you. And right now, this is a powerful time because we have access to information like this, and we have access to pretty much any question you have, you can find an answer. So you've got everything that you need already within you, and also Dr. Google. You can get a consultation and check stuff out there. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. And make sure, if you want to check out the video of this episode, head over to themodelhealthshow.com and you can join us in the studio. So thank you so much again for joining us today. And make sure to share this with somebody that you care about, somebody else that's in your family, our extended family. Help to bring them in and get them connected to more empowering information that can really help them to get to the next level where they're trying to go as well. All right. I appreciate you so much. Take care. Have an amazing day. And I'll talk with you soon.